Hi, welcome back. It's Sarah from Roadworthy. So I've not had a super ton of reading happening this week, but I've had a super ton of cleaning. I don't know. I've like washing windows, like cleaning the set. So I have like these really these sinks with really with faucet handles that have like lots of little ridges and grooves, and so I'm like scrubbing with the toothbrush. Yeah, like scrubbing like the knobs on the stove top. Like, I don't know, my hands are trashed. Yeah, I don't know what's come over me, but I've been doing a lot of that and not a lot of reading. However, I did finish 2 books this week. The first I'll talk about is Cat Brushing by Jane Campbell. Boy, that's shiny. This is a short story collection. Now, I'm not a short story reader. I'm trying to be a short story reader, and I really liked this collection. And I think part of it is I've been reading us one story every couple of days. I think that's been helpful, but I also really liked these stories. So Jane Campbell is an 80-year-old British lady, and this is her debut collection. So there's been a lot made of her age. And this short story collection is really about elderly women. And it's it's sort of a collection of stories that rebel against, you know, sort of the little old lady stereotype, the older woman that maybe needs to be monitored, controlled, infantilized by her children. Actually, there's a quote in this book that I want to read that I think perfectly sort of sums up what these stories are about. Aging is often represented as an accumulation of disease, of discomforts, of wrinkles, but it is rarely a process. It is really a process of dispossession, of rights, of respect, of desire, of all those things you once so casually owned and enjoyed. And so I keep seeing the word transgressive being used to describe these stories. And again, I really think it's a collection of stories that really challenges our biases about what we think 80-year-old women are like. There's definitely some shocking stories. There's a lot of stories involving sexuality, and again, just bring home the idea that 80-year-old women, you know, can have feelings, values, perceptions, actions that are just as complicated as 20, 30, 40, 50-year-old women. So I thought it was great, and I'm kind of excited for my, you know, short story reading career. And then I finished one audiobook this month. Pushout, The Criminalization of Black Girls in Schools by Monique W. Morris. This is a fairly academic in tone nonfiction book, just exactly what the cover says. But there's some jargon, but it's heavily interspersed with transcripts of conversations that the author had with school-age girls or young women, maybe in their early 20s, who have completed their education, reminiscing about their high school experiences. And really what she's looking at are the policies and practices in the education system and how those specifically impact Black girls. So she looks at, the increase of zero tolerance policies, the increase in exclusionary disciplines, so expulsions and suspensions, the increased surveillance and punitive school environments. So citing the increase of, security officers, metal detectors, those kinds of things in schools, and dress codes. So she's not comparing and contrasting these to boys. She's specifically looking at these policies and practices and just talking about how they impact girls specifically. And she does look at mostly urban school districts. So she talks about New Orleans, LA, Chicago. I think that's it. So again, she's talking about a lot of the intersection of race, gender, sexuality, and poverty for these young women. And she really talks about how these policies increase disengagement and marginalization and increases criminalization, that girls, when they're removed from the school environment, it could be putting them at risk for exploitation or violence outside of school. And the more you push them out and the more disengaged they become in school, the more likely they are to enter the criminal justice system. So just a really, really fascinating book, super fantastic. And it actually made me think a lot of Michelle Alexander's The New Jim Crow. And in that book, she's really talking about the war on drugs and how that has been a way to heavily criminalize the behavior of Black and brown people. And I feel like this book is sort of going through all the systemic ways that system is being brought into schools, and how girls are being, Black girls specifically, are being put at risk. Fantastic book, and I'm really not sure why this book didn't get more attention, because it's fantastic. So that's all I finished this week. I've got a couple things on the go. I'm still reading Singapore Grip with my buddy Reed, with Ros from Scallydandling About the Books, and Priscilla at Evening Reader. And I'm reading another short story collection, The Bead Workers, by Beth Piatote, and I'm enjoying this. This is part of my Pacific Northwest Indigenous Writers Project with Melinda from A Web of Stories. And then I'm reading American Precariat, Parables of Exclusion. I'm almost done with this, so I'll talk about this more next week, but this is really fascinating, really interesting book. And then I'm listening to Breaking and Entering by Dan Gilmor. This is on the long list for the Republic of Consciousness Prize. So I'm about halfway through, and I'm loving it. So I will talk more about that next week. So super quick update, you know, not a ton of reading action. I'm hoping maybe to get into some more, maybe the cleaning will die off a little bit this coming week, and I'll actually do more reading. Who knows? All right. Thanks for watching, and see you all next week.